begin the recording now. So thank you so much again for attending our session. This is a joint Open Leadership Network and Coaching Agile Journeys event. As you know, Coaching Agile Journeys has been doing this for over 4 years, and we partnered up with Open Leadership Network, really rich partnership, and we love the work that they're doing. So feel free to visit openleadershipnetwork.com. The patterns are really enlightening and interesting to read if you haven't found that page yet. So I'll ping the link there in a minute or two. I met Peter through an association with the Open Leadership Network and ended up taking the one-day class in Tampa in person earlier this year. And it was really enlightening. I feel like I didn't get any of this information elsewhere. It really helped me approach my coaching in a different way and thinking about the way we interact with people. So before I turn it on to Peter, I just want to say this is the closing event, main event that we have for 2020. There is a lean coffee remaining. So if you'd like to join those, please visit our website, coachingagilejourneys.com. And we have a survey coming, and we so appreciate that. The last time, I will say the most mentionable thing I can tell you about our survey is that we changed the time of our meetups to accommodate what listeners wanted and our community wanted. We used to do them at 4 o'clock on Thursdays, Eastern time. We heard from our listeners that they wanted it earlier on Mondays on the survey. So those things like that really do impact the way that we give these events and when we give them and the things that we add to our services. So please, when you get that link for the survey, we'd appreciate it if you filled it out. You can follow us at Coaching Agile Joe, J-O, on Twitter, of course. And we have a group on LinkedIn, and we'll be pasting those links in the chat as we go along. So I don't want to hold up from Peter's awesome content. So I am going to turn it over to Peter for now, and then Isaac is going to close us out. And I see that we have Lori here with us today, and Mark Sheffield. Thank you for joining. Yeah, cool. Peter, thanks so much for doing this event with us.
Wow, I cannot express my gratitude here. Thanks a lot for having me. Thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm really getting goosebumps because when I see the pictures here that I know really some of these dear people around here. It's people I worked with in Germany, in the States. I even have my sister on this call here. So this is, wow, I'm really impressed. Yeah, let's run the show. Heidi, yeah? Can we do it? Can we start here? Let's
do it.
Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Let me share my 225 PowerPoint slides here. And at the end of the session, there will be a test. Okay, so my name is Peter Fischbach. I am from Germany. Actually, I'm from East Frisia originally. It's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there, as my brother always tells. I was a professional stage actor for about 10 years, and I taught a lot of actors. And my way to Scrum was actually that I found out that the traditional way of teaching actors was not so successful. So I thought about, maybe I can change something. And I read a lot about coaching, and I figured out, hey, how about having more transparency and give the students the capacity and competence that they can figure out what quality is. And that's every hour, every lesson was a kind of experiment, and the students got feedback from themselves, and well, it became clear that this was a kind of, we did actually, it was not similar to Scrum, but it had a lot of elements, and somehow then I slipped into this Agile community, and then everything was lost. So this is that's an old picture here, which you see. I really like it because it's 15 years old, and that's when I was a young man, and that was my first leading role in a theater 15 years ago. And there is there's a special. I made a very special experience with that role, and this is something for the end. So, what you can expect today. I will talk a little bit about acting and maybe how acting could be useful for you. This is not an improvisation class. this is about acting technique and a little bit about acting theory, and maybe finding about your in a role when you work with executives. Because from my experience, I'm a Scrum coach as well. Now for a couple of years now, my huge master is Jeff Sutherland. I did a lot of co-trainings with him over the last 5 years, and then there is when we did executive coaching classes or classes with leadership, it was always Jeff Sutherland comes to the stage, and it's a little bit like, the reason there's Scrum is because I came to software management I was a fighter pilot, and this all seniority comes on the stage and show me that it works. Show me that it works. So everybody is this magnetic person. Everybody is watching. So this is one of my masters. And since then, I have to do with executives, and there are some differences. And we have to adjust a little bit our behavior because there is a different situation. We want to talk about this. So your role might change a little bit, but we too want to be authentic, right? It's if we think we play a role, then this is very annoying. And that's why we want to be very authentic. We want to practice this today. So this is not just a talk. I want you to practice this and to take something away. And the last 15 minutes, we have time for questions. So that's what you expect today. So first, what's acting? Is acting something phony? This was one question that brought me into acting, because I was curious. I grew up in East Friesland, so this is maybe the theater comes by once a month. So it's not a very cultural city where I was from. Now I'm living in Berlin, but more than 20 years ago, there was no theater. And I thought, how can it possibly be how can that happen? Be someone else. How is that possible? How does it work? So my whole curiosity drew me to this acting. I thought, okay, what's acting? And there are many theories and many not theories. And I found out I discovered something actually in the States. I had my first acting lessons in Long Beach, California. And I found a model that was pretty useful for me. It's all about directing our awareness. And I would like to share this with you. So by the way, this is my old, that's where I worked for 6 years. Out of the 10 years, I worked as an actor. So this is a very old theater, the classic way. 500 people in the room, and you're playing a musical or a classical stage play like Hamlet, which I played, a comedy, which I enjoyed. So that was my workspace. So what's acting? Got a question for you. So a manager is entering an office and says good morning to his secretary. I think I have an animation here. Is that acting? And I, maybe I want some feedback from you. If you think this is acting, raise your thumb or lower your thumb, or, put your thumb to the side. So is that acting, please? Okay. Thank you. So there are people who really have respect and admiration for acting. Thanks a lot. So what happens if somebody else is hearing or observing the situation? Is that acting? No, okay, that's not acting. Okay. How about this? What happens if the manager thinks somebody else is hearing or observing the situation? Is that acting? Oh, I see a thumbs up. Okay, suddenly we are, okay. So what happens after the manager enters the room 30 times? So this is a performance. We adjust our behavior because we expect that somebody else is interested that we are showing a certain kind of behavior. So when we are at home, we have a different role, like when we are at work. If we teach somebody, we have probably a different role than we sit with our boss. So there's always a performance. The question is, what kind of performance do we want to give? And if we know that there is a performance, then we can influence that performance and we can influence our impact. And this is what the talk is about. So let's turn our attention to executives and why it's sometimes different. So just Heidi and Isaac, you agreed before. I'm not calling you out here, and we just I was asking for your consent. How is behavior of executives different? What would you say? Any spontaneous reactions?
Yeah, my spontaneous reaction is they always have an audience because they typically have lots of people reporting to them and see them as models for behavior that they should follow.
Oh, that's
Yeah, and
great.
I'd exactly echo that. Their influence is high, and so what they say, and as Heidi said, model, tends to impact the people who are following them, if they in fact have people following them. So I think that, yeah, they have a acute awareness of being watched, and for the purpose of modeling behavior. So I think that absolutely they're more aware of that.
Okay, that's one thing. So they're being watched. Actually, there's a saying in theater that the king is always played by the other actors on the stage. It's not the actor who is coming on stage and plays the king. It's the behavior of the other people which make the king. Anything else? Is there anything else? Any other behavior? If somebody else in this call wants to speak up, that's fine as well. So any other
I think
reactions?
when you talk about acting, I think it has something to do where you are not in integrity or where you are not yourself. You are maybe you try to do things, say some things in a stronger way or something, but you do something out of the ordinary in terms of who you really are, and that is not being close to to be a person in integrity, meaning a person who what you think and what you say and what you do. And I think that's all about also leadership.
Okay, so they behave differently. So somehow not according to their authenticity or to their inner self.
Your integrity, authenticity. Authenticity. You can never say yourself, I'm an authentic person. It's always for the viewer to judge whether you are authentic or not.
Okay.
I can say after this meeting, hey, Peter, did I feel you were authentic person or not? And if you made an acting with me, I would probably, if I'm good at judging people, I would probably be better to judge whether you were, in my view, authentic or not, being you as who you really are.
Okay.
So did you act this or did you not? So for me, authenticity, if you are not authentic, if you are acting too much.
That's correct. If you're overacting, Spencer Tracy said it. Acting is a nice thing, but don't get caught at doing it.
Yeah.
My experience with executives is a little bit like this. They're very time sensitive. There is a lot of time pressure. So you are your judgment and your opinion is very much validated and appreciated. So everybody wants to have to talk with you. Everybody wants something from you. And the whole day does not have enough time for that. So it's very time sensitive. Sometimes, I say sometimes, not always, it's limited trust because of dysfunctional organizations, the way the organization is set up. So the work system is set up that way that there are lots of political issues. And it's not clear who you can trust or not trust. And subordinates demand from you protection, direction, and order. That's what they want from you. This is a social contract. That's what they demand from you. And if you don't give this protection and direction and order, you are in a difficult situation, especially in an agile transformation, because everything is changing and something, that's very uncertain. And but somebody demands from you this direction and protection and order. And the saying or the expression, I don't know, is not very much appreciated. So, and this results in fear very often and in a need for security. I need something to hold on. So what they need from us is a lot of clarity. If we don't provide this clarity, there's a lot of confusion. And my question is, what happens if we are not meeting their expectations? What will happen? Probably we got kicked out of the system, or nobody will take us seriously, and our intervention doesn't have an effect. I've seen many great agile coaches or scrum coaches with lots of experience, but who weren't able to deliver their interventions, and they kind of had a negative effect because they didn't hit the right tone, if you know what I'm saying. It's the music was not the right kind of music, and that made it very, very hard, not just for themselves but for their teams as well. So the question is, in which moments do we have an impact on them? And maybe just, if you have a piece of paper, just for a moment, or somewhere to write, what are the moments, or when you have something to do with executives, where did you have the most impact? Just remember, what was any circumstances? Did you do something differently? So then the question is, how can we shape these moments? What is it we can do? And I would like to show you some aspects we use in acting, or how actors are trained, that might be useful to shape these moments. So a great actor, great actors or actors that are hired, they have a very good trained craft. That's the daily practice. Then they have a kind of interesting personality, and that's personality is always shaped by what kind of choices do you make? How can you make dramatic choices? What's interesting? Is the person interesting or not? And the last thing is style. Do you catch the latest or appropriate style? Let's say, you maybe something like the show, or is maybe like Downton Abbey or a Shakespeare play or The Crown. And then Mike Myers from Wayne's World comes in. Maybe great performance, but it's not the show for that. So the style is wrong. So one thing is, we train the craft. Then what's our personality? What's our part? What's our authenticity within us? And then in which style we are. And we want to look at that. So what's craft? This is the basic of craft. This is the basic training an actor gets, and this is something every actor trains every day. It's like an athlete. So it's, are you concentrated? Think about if you are doing a movie and you are on set and you're playing a love scene, and there are around you 30 people who are watching you. There is the sound technician. There's somebody from the lighting department. There's makeup. The director is watching you. And then there's noise, because it's not possible to turn everything down. So, and in this moment, you have to concentrate. You have to concentrate on your partner, the most important person at that moment, and you are fully concentrated on that. The interesting thing is, the more you are concentrated as an actor, the higher the expectations are, something you really want to achieve, the more attention you get from the audience. You don't have to do anything. It's just, you are there. You are, hello, my name is Jeff Sutherland. It's, whoa, you're there in the moment. Then what you learn is relaxation. Actors learn to relax. And that's a part of stage acting, because if we are not relaxed, our breath won't work. If our breath is not working, our voice will sound really, really, that's, well, if I do this and I don't have enough voice, you really have trouble listening to me all the time, and maybe if you want to do this as an agile coach and maybe there's a dysfunction in your voice, then it's, who's that person? It's hard to maintain the attention. So that's relaxation, and relaxation is a precondition for awareness. Awareness, what's going on in the room? What is my partner doing on stage? When my partner on stage is doing something different and I don't react to that, that's weird, because it doesn't seem in place at the moment. If the person is not aware what's going on, it's the same in agile coaching. It's the same in team coaching. If you're not aware what's going on, if you can't read the room, that's you have a hard time. So that's craft. It's the easiest thing which you can concentrate on is your breath. So that is your breath as an actor. That's your power supply. And the breath is, we are using the breath to project our ideas. And I want to show you an example. So this is another reason I became an actor, because I saw Dead Poet Society, I guess, when I was 15 or 16, full of energy, and I wanted to change the world. And I saw this movie, and then this is Walden, Henry David Thoreau. And what's interesting here is that's a very long sentence. Typically, we say there's one thought, and then there's one breath. And we want to deliver that thought. So I could read it like, I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to confront only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. Well, that's maybe not, maybe I don't get your attention if I do this. So that's maybe a moment when we can. Are you open to doing an exercise? Okay, so if you're open to do an exercise, I want you to give a little bit more of privacy. So everybody, please turn off your camera. So you're sure that nobody is watching you. Yes, thank you. Incredible. Okay. So close your eyes for a moment and observe your breath. What's happening in your body? How big is your breath at the moment? There's maybe a movement in your body, and explore this movement for a moment. How much is your body taking in? How much breath? Just observe. Don't change anything, just observe. Then I want you to slowly exhale to your nose. Concentrate on exhaling. Then I want you to observe there is a moment when you just have stopped exhaling. Then there is a moment in your body where something is happening. And I want you to explore this. What's happening just after the moment when you have exhaled? So what's happening if you give this moment, this dynamic, a little bit more freedom? Because what would happen, I suppose, is when you have exhaled, then your body will automatically inhale. And then it's you know, your lungs and your upper body is maybe getting bigger and bigger because it's the breath wants to come in, and your breath gives you a massage. And take a bit of time and enjoy this massage. Mm. And then observe what happens with your spine when the breath comes in. What happens with your upper spine? Okay, thanks a lot. So if you would like, please turn your camera on again. So we have a very short conversation because I need some feedback from you. Maybe, or Heidi, I can ask you. Heidi, how was it? What's happening?
It just felt like there was a natural place where after the breath, where it was waiting, like just a natural place of silence and nothingness in my body before the next, breath came in. And then actually when I focused on it, the inhale, I could feel my spine kind of stretching actually.
Exactly. There is a inner muscular system that is keeping you up, keeping you straight. It doesn't need force. It's something the body does for yourself. Okay, so this is maybe a little bit relaxing, and then we can look back on the screen. And I want you to now to look at these words, and I want you to, you could turn the camera off again, and I want you to try to read this in one, maybe in one thought. Try to read it aloud, just for yourself, very comfy, without any forces, just for yourself. Read it aloud. You can do it silently as well if you want to. Just take the time and explore the text. There is something between the lines, and it's just you and the text now, and I stop talking. Okay, Heidi, how is that?
I realized very quickly that I was wishing to read to know the whole context so I could focus on where I'm going to emphasize the word. Is it
Okay.
deliberately, or is it because? Where should I? So it's really contextual. The meaning changed for me drastically based on where I was focusing the emphasis.
Okay. Could this is maybe brave. That's really a hard something I ask you to do. If that's okay. If you don't want to do it, it's perfectly okay. Then I ask Isaac. Could you read the sentence once, just once?
Sure.
Take your time. Take the time you need.
Yep. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived.
Okay, there. Thanks. That was awesome. Thanks, really. This is maybe give some silent noise here. Thanks. That was very brave. Yes. So there is there's something in this text. There are images in this text. Has anybody heard some images as well? Isaac, have you heard any images? What was there something you would remember, something that stood out?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what was interesting is the first time you introduced it, it was almost like it was just kind of, I heard the words, I went, okay, cool, and moved on. But as we breathed and as we said it again, color kind of started to add into it. And for me, as I read it again the second time, I found myself walking through the woods as I was pondering these things. My imagination began to ignite, and I found myself wondering and walking through. And so it went from being black and white to having color that I could step into, all as everything slowed down and I put myself more into focusing on it. It was an incredible transformation. It's no longer just text, right? It was something that I actually got to step into, which is incredible. That this slowing down, breathing and focusing on it, concentrating on it, completely changed my interaction with text. It's incredible.
So the first, maybe if you read this the first time, it might be a little bit phony. This is a poem. What do I have to do with that? That's not my language. This is acting. That's not me. But suddenly you figure out that there are some images that you are projecting to another person. You're discovering this, and this is the most important thing in this moment. And the same we can do is in a situation with an executive. Just relax for a moment and control the situation. There might be triggers, when you hear certain sentences like, this agile bullshit, is that really working? Or there are certain sentences or behaviors where you feel this trigger and you get emotional. That's a different thing. That's probably in that moment, you're aware that you are just being triggered, and then you can relax, find your breath again, and then, okay, it's about this idea you want to project. And it's the same true for this situation for acting, or if you are together with an executive where you're a little bit excited or nervous. You get back to your breath. So let's use the breath for another little bit more powerful exercise, because the nice thing about this very long sentence is it has a beauty when you can speak longer sentences. Shorter sentences are very easy, but keeping somebody with a very long sentence that maintains their attention, so they're not allowed to be distracted, you are leading this with a long sentence. So I want you to try this to combine, and again, you can turn off your camera, and I would like to show you an exercise, because if you know what you want to say, the images you have in mind, something you have prepared, what you want from the executive, then you could try to deliver this to the executive. So what we do here is, you see that I'm making a movement with my arm and with my hand. And it starts, my hand is almost beside my face, and the movement ends when my hand is flat and it's pointing to your direction. It's not below me or above me or beside to the camera, it's directly to you. Because I want to address you at the moment. Hey, board member, you really need to understand this. I'm here and I want something from you. So what I'd like you to practice now is something is a little bit like this. The hand movement will stop when you reach the period of the end of the sentence. So it's a little bit, I have to practice as well. So I need to find my economy here. It's a little bit like, I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. So I'm timing the sentence together with my hand movement. Try this, try a little bit. Maybe you are too fast with your arm, maybe you're too slow. It's just your pace. Find your pace and practice just a little bit, maybe a couple of minutes, 2, maybe 2 minutes. Thanks so much. Heidi, Isaac, are you there? Are you still there?
Yes, yes, here with you.
Isaac, what's your impression? What's your experience with this?
Wow, the timing, I kept thinking to myself as I was going, I was like, I'm doing perfectly. And then I found myself way past. It's like, wait, no, I'm not doing perfectly. And so it definitely changed the kind of what's the right rhythm, right, to progress as opposed to just, again, saying words, right, but actually finding a rhythm that would match the time that it would be delivered to finish at just the right point.
Oh, there happened something. You know, you talked a little bit slower, not artificial.
Yes.
But it was, that's everybody listen to Isaac. Isaac really has to say something here. So one thing is the timing and the rhythm is changing. And the other aspect of this exercise is you're projecting your thoughts to somebody else. And that gives you a certain power, because you know you have this upright position because your spine is lifted through your breath. You know what you want to say, you have the image in mind, and then you deliver it. So this is maybe something about where you can play with, as actors are more or less children. They can do everything, but then there is doubt, and they need a lot of acknowledgement and confirmation. So we have directors. So when we try something, and we try something new, because it's a new mindset every 6 weeks, a new role every 6 weeks, and some things are unusual. We look into tiny parts of our personality. This is a cat. I don't know if you hear the cat. Is anybody hearing a cat here? Okay, I'm just hearing the cat. Okay. So it's one part of your personality that you're bringing on stage, and that's unusual. So you need this confirmation of somebody else. So if you think that this is phony stuff, what you're doing, get feedback from colleagues and say, well, I'm experimenting a little bit. How does it feel? Am I weird here? So get some feedback. Okay, that's a cat here.
We like cats.
So so this is craft. This is something we train. The breathing exercise is something you can train in the car or when you're standing in line somewhere. So this is that's pretty easy, because if you practice it every day, it gets better. So the other part is the personality. And one great tool that shifts perspective is something we call reciprocal characterization. When we are playing a role, we are not changing our behavior and play this from the outside. We figure out what's the situation we are in, and how do we see other people, and how do other people see us. So let's say I want to play a paranoid person. I could do it very superficially, and I think somebody wants to kill me. But maybe this is not believable. This is inauthentic. If I want to play somebody who is paranoid, I assume that other people in the room will think of me very badly, and they have, they have some motives that are maybe not positive for me, because really, I saw it now. Isaac here is, your reaction is, you just changed your posture, and probably, Isaac, you will not hire me again. I'm not actually hired here, but Isaac will, no, yes, he's shaking his head. So, this is okay. This is going bad. Sorry for that. That's now I'm confused. Are you all hating me? So I'm starting to interpret the behavior of the person accordingly to the characterization I created in my head. So it's not that I play Hamlet, but there's Ophelia in the room, and there's the king, and there's a ghost, and he looks a little bit like my father, and now I have to react, and it's perfectly the way I would react to a very peculiar situation. And that's why some part of me, my personal reaction, will appear as a different character because the situation is different. And what I thought is what was really powerful is this reciprocal characterization, is how your perspective or interactions change. So let's say arrogance can be played by characterizing other people as fools, yokels, or weaklings. I mean, here, I'm sorry about Isaac. What can I say? It's just Isaac, It's, sorry, Isaac. Or humility can be played by characterizing other people as powerful, brilliant, and knowing. Oh my gosh, it's Isaac. Everybody is Isaac Garcia. He's in the call. My sister is on the call as well. Okay. So this is humility. Or inner geniality. Other people that are lovable, funny, fun to be with, and fond of you. Wow. Okay, that's nice. So now we're starting to having fun here, because that's really nice. I have these are the best people. Confidence, and this is interesting when you work with leadership, is that other people admire your qualities, approve your intentions, and they support your actions. And you look for all this small behavior. Isaac is nodding his head, so I'm interpreting this that Isaac thinks, oh, this is really great, maybe that's maybe the part of the arrogant. You can combine this, but what I really found very useful here was, okay, if I change the way I think other people think of me, then I can change the situation. So maybe take a moment here and take some notes. What would be different if you were assuming that other people are admiring your qualities, approving your intentions, and supporting your actions? What would be different? Just take a moment here. Look at the question. What would be different? Last part is style. So when characterization is something where every character on stage is different from another, style is something they all have in common. If it's Shakespeare, they are really talking this weird language, If it's comedy, everybody is a little bit, it's a different timing. Executive suite is sometimes a little bit style as well. So, and if we start observing what's different, we see two things. We see the status, how other people perceive us, and we see rhythm. Status is, okay, people are respecting me, and people are maybe admiring me. and there is a status, a hierarchy in the room. So let's assume that you are a part of this, this leadership circle, and you are this great, you're this amazing agile coach everybody is respecting. Wow, this person really, when she's there, that's the system changes. Wow, you got Heidi? Wow, that's awesome. And then there's rhythm. So as you have seen with Isaac, when you just slow down your pace a little bit, not in a phony way, but just a little bit, so that you are making your point here. I want you to make your point. I want you to hear me. Then you're slowing down your rhythm a little bit. So that's maybe an experiment you can make in the next weeks. Slowing down your rhythm, the way you move. It's not just the way you speak, it's the way you move. So I can make a break here. I know it's already time for questions, but I'm sitting here because I have all the time in the world. I know that you're waiting, but I'm breathing. Okay, now I want to go on. A couple of last things. Style is also, you will probably work with people who came in this position because they were really hard workers or really well prepared. Very often there are these subject matter experts who get promoted because they get things done. They are very well prepared. If you are not prepared as well, then maybe you're not hitting the same style. So what we like to do is we look at, okay, what can we do to prepare, just to finish this up? If we want to change a system, we know that's not easy to change a system. Now there's the light here. If we want to change system, we look at how are evolutionary systems working. And there is a biological phenomenon that's called punctuated equilibrium. We always see these small, tiny changes in a system, and we are looking for, okay, where can we make the next intervention? What's the smallest step so we can change the system? So every time you're having an intervention with leadership, it's you want to change the system. Is that correct? So this is something, if you have these, if you want to prepare for the next intervention, that's something I do for trainings and coachings. And when I work with executives, I always start, okay, what do they gain? Executives, what do they gain? Why do they have to listen to me? Is there potential loss? I need to calculate, because there is this, when things are changing, it's not the fear of change, it's somebody is losing something. So that's why I want to be aware, okay, is there potential loss here? What can they expect? So they are used, Isaac, just the facts, just the facts, straight to the facts. So make sure you know what they expect. What can they expect? Now, what should they do after your intervention? Let's say, Isaac, I want you to get a shower more often, you stink. I'm really clear. Okay, that's what you need to do. I'm joking. Sorry for that. Isaac is not stinking. What experience should they make so that they understand you well? It's very often we try to talk our way through, but if we start thinking about, okay, what kind of experience should they make to really get my point, then maybe it's easier for people to understand. And this is something from acting as well, to cope with stage fright. So what do you really enjoy? what is you're looking forward in this intervention? If you focus on what you're really enjoying, it's not that you're totally entering the situation relaxed, because that's something you want to enjoy. That's it. So these are the things I want to prepare. So my mind is clear. I know what kind of image I want to project to somebody else. I use these techniques so that I'm relaxed, and so that I'm clearer what kind of point I want to make. So to sum it up, if you have a clear impression, what you want, what your ideas are, then you have a clear expression. If you have a clear expression, your audience or other people who are maybe very time sensitive, then they have a very clear impression of what you want and what your ideas are. It's easy if you practice your breathing and projecting your thoughts. So maybe if you are at home now, you go downstairs and say to your teenager, I want you to get the cola right out of the fridge. Try to send a command with maybe you know what you want to say, and try to deliver that speech. Think about what you want to say and say it. Shape your relationship actively. So how would you describe the relationship with executives, and how do you think are they perceiving you? And is there something you can change? And prepare your intervention. So if you're well prepared, if you know what you enjoy, it's easier. I promised you a story. This is the story of there was a play. I think we always had half the house full, so not very good. Audience was not really accepting that play the way we imagined that, but that was okay. That was a moment I played the son of a king, and so rebellious. And the director said, "Hey, why don't you take the spray can and spray something bad, a sentence on the wall?" And I thought about a Simpsons expression. In Simpsons, there was a very old episode, I think 1989, and there was Bart Simpson was spraying on the wall. Skinner, the director of the school, Skinner is a wiener. So that's why I sprayed Felipe, that's my father in the play. Felipe is a wiener. And I knew that nobody would really laugh, because who knows that? But in one performance out of 11, there was somebody who was laughing so loud in the moment. The whole theater was silent, but one person was laughing so hard. And that's when I figured out, hey, there's always a person who really loves what I'm doing. And I think that's true for every interaction you have with executives as well. Thanks so much, everybody. I think it's time for questions.
Wow. Excellent. Well, thank you, Peter. So yes, we'll pause now for a few questions at the end. So we have some time for a few of those. You can put them in the chat, or if you prefer, you can also just unmute and shout them out. But I have actually one for you that came from earlier in the conversation. And again, I really enjoyed, I took a lot of notes on sticky notes. So as we were going, I put those down there. So I loved taking the time to breathe and prepare and to slow down and to deliver at the right pace. One question I have is, often I found executives to be time crunched people, to be going from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting, and then having another meeting jammed in there. And from my experience, I'm often a lower priority for them during the day. I'm that agile transformation thing happening over there. I have to do stuff that has to do with money and hiring and firing people, and you're doing this transformation feel good stuff. And so I feel like what often happened was my time either got compressed, or when I got in, I even had one experience. I had a whole presentation, and the person I had a printed out deck, flipped through it to the end and said, what do you want? What's at the end? Okay, yeah, just this, let's move on. And just rushed through the whole thing. Do you have any recommendations when you're dealing with an executive who's at a high tempo from what you're trying to do so you can convey your information?
Well, my experience is that this triggers me if somebody is really under pressure. And the first thing, if I figure out that I'm triggered, is that I need to relax first. Otherwise, it doesn't help. So that's the first thing. And then I know, okay, if that person is really time sensitive and is maybe just are interested in numbers, then I know that's meet the people where they are and be really clear about, okay, what is it they really, what is it they gain out of this meeting with you? And if that's not valuable for them, they won't listen.
Right. That's awesome. Excellent. Very good. All right. Any other questions? I'll go back to the audience. Anybody else have any other questions that you want to ask Peter while he's here? Maybe you have an interaction with an executive coming up, or you had an interaction with an executive.
Hey, I was curious about one particular item on the preparing for the next intervention slide. And Peter, the statement was something to the effect of the executives making experience.
Yes.
Can you speak to that a little more?
Yeah, well, there's always an experience people have when they are in the room. When they are listening, there is just this, the words that are coming, and the question is, what is they really experience? Are you reaching the person? Is it when Heidi was reading her lines, there were images, and it had an effect on me. And on Isaac as well, I know that. So there was okay, that's really catching me. So it's not about just the content. It's about there's an image I want the people to have in their minds. When I'm talking, I'm not talking for the ears of the people. I'm talking for their eyes. And the trick is, if I slow down a little bit, not just the phony way, but if I know I want everybody in the room with me to share my imagination, then I know that people have it a little bit easier to follow me. And that's an experience. Another experience could be just any visuals or something or a video of a really annoyed client. That's an experience as well. That kind of experience. Does it help a little bit?
Very much so, yeah. That's
Okay,
great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, well, we have 2 minutes left, so I do want to wrap us up here, but give you, again, the announcement we said at the top of the meeting is that we're really closing up. This was our last guest speaker for our 2020 season. This year has been a whirlwind for all of us, and especially for us even here at Coaching Agile Journeys. We've all been adapting to changing situations, and so thank you all for being a part of our community. As we wind down the year, we have one more event that's a lean coffee in December. Join us if you can. That'd be great. CoachingAgileJourneys.com. Also, you can connect with us on LinkedIn. But my big ask for 2020 is, as a participant in this community, we need your feedback. We want to make 2021 our best year yet. And so we send out a survey every year to our entire audience. So you should be getting in your email soon. If you wouldn't mind taking, we try to keep it short. So maybe 5-10 minutes, hopefully at the most, to just give us answers to those questions. It will really help us find great speakers and design our sessions for 2021 so they can be effective for you. So really, unless you join us at the Lean Coffee, this is Coaching Agile Journey signing off for the year. So I hope everyone is safe. Do take time, spend it with your family during the holidays, and we very much look forward to seeing you in 2021. I'll pause for Heidi. Do you have anything you want to add as we sign off for the year?
We're just so grateful that everybody decides to show up every single time we have these events. And so thank you. Thank you, everybody, for continuing to show up. We appreciate you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, Peter, thank you for being our speaker. Everyone, if you wouldn't mind just giving him a little round of applause on your camera. We just so appreciate you taking the time to share this with us. I look forward to implementing these things. And I put in the comments, but I'll just say to you, I think that breathing exercise might be the best part of my day. That was wonderful. So thank you for taking this time and sharing all of your experience with us.
Thanks so much. Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Peter. Hey. Thanks, everyone.
All right, everybody. See you guys all next year. Have a good rest of your year. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.